Yeah, all right. What's up? What's up? What's going on? What is? I'm gonna turn this guy off because I think I'm kind of good with that. How y'all feeling? What's up? Uh, I I'm not gonna lie. I know I need to get back on consistency. I had to do a test to see and make sure that everything was kind of working the way that it was supposed to. Last stream that I did, the audio wasn't working, which that sucks. So I think I got everything backed out in again today, so that'll be cool. Let me know how y'all feeling in the chat, all that good stuff. Let me know if y'all work on anything cool, if y'all got anything cool going on. I've been working on a couple of projects. I think I'm working on three projects right now. I want to say three. The number might be four. I know I got invited to an album release party that I think is next Saturday. Yeah. So next week, album release party for an artist that I worked with named Jumbo. Um so that should be cool. I Let me see actually if I have the name of the track, what the actual title is. I know the name of the beat that I sent him. I know the name of the project is called Still on My Bully. And the song is called. Give me a minute. Uh, there is no title. Okay, cool. So there's no title. So I actually don't even know what the name of the song is yet. I just know that the album title is. Let me make sure I got this right. Even though I just said it like 2 seconds ago. Still on My Bully. I was about to say Back on My Bully for whatever reason. Album is called Still on My Bully. Um, and that should be cool event to go to next week, so we'll see how that goes. So that'll be one project out of the queue, and then I still got the other three that I'm working on with Dre. um so we got one that we gotta finish up, and then working through the rest. So what's that, right? Yeah, because we got one that's wrapping up, and then we got Bonds, the brunette, and yeah. All right, cool. So that puts me at about, yeah, like I said, about three projects that are currently still getting tweaked. So that's cool, which is why I've been working a lot, which is great because I love working. And then I've been trying to set up just some more sessions, always trying to stay tapped in, keeping on, and then trying to see if I can get another session in this week as well. More of a production collab session sort of thing. Really want to make some samples, some loops, that sort of stuff. So I'll see if I can work with homie to get that in. Also, wouldn't mind doing some songwriting as well. So see what ideas we can get up from there. So that's all that cool stuff. Then, right, no new manga. Um, I don't think I've been watching any new. I know I haven't been watching any new anime because I've been honestly. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I've been watching a lot of old Brad Pitt and Johnny Depp movies. Ironically enough, I did go see the new F1 movie. That was good. Spoiler alert, may or may not care. It's not a plot spoiler or anything like that. But they it was funny because I was with my homie when we watched it, and he like we were watching it, and he just looks over at me. He goes, "These aren't real F1 cars," and it was funny because the way F1 cars, like when they're driving, you don't get flames out the back of them. That's an F2 thing, and it was just funny because that was the first. Like that's when he saw that happening. He was just like, "Ah, they're using F2 cars." And then my other homie asked how we liked the movie, and told me all we all went, and he was like, "Yeah, somebody else said the same thing. Like they knew that they weren't using F1 cars because of all the flames that were getting shot out the back of them." So that was like one of those little funny things that I think a couple of us kind of noticed, but on the whole, movie was solid. I would go see it again, not gonna lie. Um random fun fact. It's been beneficial, I've been having a good time with it. I got an iPod. I got an iPod Classic. I've been having this I've had this vision, right? I had this like this idea. Oh snap! You know, it amazes me that we get so used to how our tech works, like the new stuff, like the iPhones, or like just like new gadgets in general. But I had this vision, this idealized future version of me, and I want to encourage you guys to do this too. If I haven't mentioned this before, or if I've mentioned this already, but one thing that I've been actively working on doing, having artists that I work with do, and my friends, is to think about what it is future you is doing, the idealized, the craziest of the crazy, what is happening over here, right? And finding ways to kind of start doing that now. And one of those things for me, right, is idealized future me has all of the beats that I'm working on, songs that I'm working on, mixes, say like all the ideas that I kind of have going on are on an iPod. Just so that way I can just have like a dedicated device, a dedicated workflow space where I can just have everything all in one centralized location, and it's great, and I don't have to worry about potential leaks or anything like that. I can just say, this is the thing. They're all right here. And it's great. And I've had this vision for a minute, right? Then I went, found an iPod that was at my parents' house, and I was like, oh, nobody's using this. Um, which is like, I went to my dad and was like, you're not gonna miss this, are you? And he's like, I didn't even realize I still had this. And I was like, perfect. This is mine now. Um, went back to everything that was on here up, uploaded all of my works in progress, all that kind of stuff. And I am not gonna lie to you, I've watched like a few videos on YouTube um with people with like talking about like their just music collections. Um I know one dude off the top of my head, Digging the Greats, dope YouTube channel that I like to watch just in terms of like samples, just a lot of references for just like ideas, sampling techniques, just like random stuff and how it's been put in the music. Um he did a video talking about um putting music onto his iPod and whatnot. And he made a comment that I didn't take too much, like I just didn't think about, but it was really just talking about how having music on a dedicated device kind of changed his relationship to the music, and I didn't think much of it. And for me, this genuinely has changed my like just my way of thinking in my relationship with music genuinely has changed while using this device. And I'm gonna break it down in a couple of different ways. The first, right up the bat, is I forgot how finicky this like technology. Like this is a like I don't want to say annoying, but like this is annoying to work with. I'm not like uploading music, getting it to like sync right. Like it reminded me of like going through and like going through like DatPiff and like downloading like downloading mixtapes. Back when DatPiff was like really jumping, or like going on like MP3 downloader back when I was like in middle and high school, and because I remember this dude that I think um he was in like my PE class, or we had like some random class together, or it might be on like lunch, and he showed me like all the albums that he had. And I was like, dude, like, where are you getting them? He's like, 'cause I never paid for them. I'm like, dude, where are you getting all this music from? And he told me, like, yo, I'll be like downloading like all this stuff or whatever. And I was like, yo, like, this is gas. I need that. But like, the issue with some of that was you might not get the album cover. Or, like, the album cover might be weird, or like some of the songs might be over here, and you have like a whole nother album over here with the same title and everything. And it was like all mixed into place, really weird or whatever. And it's just like, all right, cool. This is a thing, right? But it reminded me so much of like how I used to interact with my music and the limiting amount of space, because you only had so much space with all these devices. So it's like, if I want this album, I might have to get rid of another album, or I'll have to like make play with, or just all the physical act of moving your music around and choosing how stuff is configured, and like all of, like just the like I remember going in and like having to, what project was it? I think it was either Travis Scott's Al Faro mixtape, or I want to say one of Tyler the Creator's mixtapes. Going in on the album's metadata and adding in all of the missing information, like the album artist, like the album cover, and like all the other stuff, just so that I could have it all synced up the way I wanted it to when I had it on my actual player. And it was fun having to go back and do that for my own music, when it like, because like obviously like when stuff gets uploaded to like DSPs, it kind of does that for you. But like my actual like works in progress, or like all like the beats that I'm working on, just to get off of my computer and house it in a dedicated space. Because I'll be honest, what annoys me personally, right, is the cloud is cool, but I don't like the fact that if I'm playing a song off of iCloud, right, if I'm putting a beat off of iCloud, I play it, it works, and then to go to the next song, there is no next button. I gotta like open my phone up again, scroll over, or find the next idea, beat, song, or whatever. I can't like just play it like I'm playing it in iTunes or whatever. And then apps like Untitled, which are dope, I like the concept of it, right? They only give you so much storage space. So it's not like I can have all of the music that I'm working on in that dedicated space. Um, which, I get it. Everything has limitations or whatever. They want to pay for the subscription, which is the other thing that kills me. Is I'm really getting tired of all these subscriptions. Like I think I've said it before, like subscription fatigue is real and I'm fried. Like I'm tired. I'm tired of it. I'm annoyed. Buddy right here solves that problem, right? And what was weird for a minute is, and again goes back to just the way that technology is sometimes, is like when I put some of the song, like the stuff I have on here, like some of the artwork isn't populating the right way, but like it'll have glimpses of like the album art kind of like floating around. I know you guys can't see that because the screen's like overblown or whatever, but like it'll have like the artwork still kind of flashing. So it's like it's in here somewhere, right? But it's not in the way that I thought or that I was expecting. And it reminds me, it just reminded me of like, oh yeah, no, this is like what my introduction to like my actual music. It's weird. It's hard to explain, like, because I want to say like music catalog, but like all the music that I remember listening to like that influenced me right now is because of how interacting with this was. So that's just been like the coolest thing. And just being able to also just have all of my ideas that I'm working on or projects that I'm listening to with other artists like Dre, for example. He hit me and was like, hey, what songs should we do promos for the album that we're working on? And I literally sent him a picture and I'm like, dude, I'm listening to the album right now on this device. I will let you know. Like I haven't even gone through the whole thing. Like I'm listening to it right now. And he's like, yeah, that's fire. Like that's awesome. And it just feels different to interact with music in this way. So that's like one big part of it. And the second part, which was like that next level up, which was like, oh wow, this is even better. Um, I never fully understood. Um, Let me back up a little bit. My favorite producers and engineers, right? They always talk about their mixing environment. And I got it, but I never fully understood it. And what I mean by that is I know Mike Dean has a program, I'm not sure what it's called exactly, where it like emulates different mixing environments. Like I know one mix environment is like his main studio or whatever. I know one mix environment that he put in there is like his car. Because he said like my car has amazing speakers. It's like cool. I know certain engineers who are like, I only want to record or mix on Yamaha NS10s because of the way they sound. So I was like, all right, cool, I get it. I conceptually I get it. And I think the thing for me was I always knew what like how I wanted my mixes to sound like in my head and convert like they always sounded right in my through my speakers, like in my space. They sound the way I want them to sound. Because in my head I'm making the adjustments mentally. And I'm listening back to my mixes in the car or on speakers or at studios, and they all sound more or less the way that I imagine them to sound. And I think part of that comes from when I was DJing. I'm always mixing with the idea that they're going to be played live and through DJ monitors or like actual not studio monitors but like amps or live monitors like when you're playing like at a club or at an event space, right? Like just literally like from when I was DJing. Like that's how I just that's my reference point for my mixes. And I was listening to my music on this iPod with these little danky iPod speakers or like iPhone headphones or whatever. And one, it made me appreciate the Beats headphones again, right? Because there was a time, some of you, a lot, I'm saying some of you, I know a lot of you remember this. Some of you probably don't, but like, I know the vast majority of people remember when the Beats headphones came out, right? I remember there was this one dude in my high school who literally had a different color headphone for every day of the week. Like it was a, it was a what's the word I'm looking for? It was a fashion accessory just as much as it was an audio accessory. But I think people focused so much on the audio on the fashion aspect of it that they neglected the reason why those headphones were even popular in the first place. It's because this device, right? When I was going through like understanding, because I'm not gonna lie to you, as cool as I may seem, or as cool as I may look, or as cool as I like to think I am, right? At the end of the day, I truly am just like a nerd who makes really cool stuff or is just interested in really cool stuff. And when I get interested in something, now I want to know everything about it, right? I make music. I use it. Like I want to know, like, I want to have enough reference points where I can be like, oh yeah, no, I know this random band or this random singer or this random riff that I can pull up. The same way I dig through music like that, I dig through everything else like that. I was looking through the iPod and I found out that the converters that they use, like the actual headphone DAC that are in some of these early iPods, this is a seventh gen. I found out that the fifth gen has like a really crazy high quality one, but all these iPods have like really good headphone converting DACs inside of them, right? So it's like your hardware has really good audio potential, and then you get these little itty bitty earbuds to go along with them that can't take full advantage of the hardware that they're getting paired to. So, solution is go get a bigger pair of headphones. That way, this can match this. You see what I'm saying? The audio that this is capable of pumping out needs something a little bit bigger to be able to take full advantage of it. So I was like, all right, cool. That's a great, reminder to get better headphones. And also to appreciate how far we've come. Because again, there was a point in time where people got this and said this was good enough. Like this was great. And what's funny is I think maybe part of it was because I was expecting this to sound good, or I know what my music sounds like. So I'm just like, oh yeah, no, it sounds good. It sounds exactly what I was expecting. So that was cool. And then I started going through the settings and I was like, well, EQ settings. What are these going to do? Because I never really played around with them because I was always told that you want to go with the neutral EQs, like high-end audio stuff. They won't even give you an EQ option because they want you to experience what the artist was referencing out of their speaker. So there's no need to color the sound with your own EQ settings, right? So that was always like my point of reference. And I think that is where my disconnect at the start came from. When I was like, I understand what people talk about when they say, I want to mix in this room, but I didn't fully grasp it because it was kind of at odds with the second part. Because I'm looking at it from the end consumer perspective and trying to relay that back to the actual source, if that makes sense. This will come together in a second. So I was listening to my own mixes back in that original neutral tone, and I was like, all right, cool. This sounds about what I was expecting. Plugged in my actual headphones and was like, yep, this sounds even better because I work out of these, so I know what I'm expecting to hear from these headphones, plus whatever quality is coming out of here. Again, whether or not is as big of a sound differentiator, if I actually could hear that difference or not, I don't really know. Again, it might just be the fact that I was excited, A, B, because I knew it had good quality, so I was expecting it to sound good. But when you put all the pieces together, it was like, oh yeah, no, sounds good. Started going through EQ settings and tried like the bass booster, like all different settings, and I was like, yeah, no, this doesn't sound right. And then I clicked the electronic EQ profile. And it was like a light bulb literally went off. And I was like, this sounds exactly like how it sounded in my head. Like, I could turn it on and turn it off and immediately hear where the differences were. And I was like, okay, it already sounded good before. Now it sounds even better afterwards. Whatever this is doing, I need this like consistently. And that goes back to my point again, where it's like changing my relationship with music, because now we went from, oh, this is cool with the interaction of just the product that I'm working on in general, and just being able to spend more time on it in a different way, not just the creative part, but like going in and like creating like my own, like mixing like my mixtapes or whatever, uploading them, fighting this machine to get the album artwork on in the right way, figuring out how to best work within the limitations to make sure that all my stuff is operating the way I want to. Like all of those things compounded, I was like, oh no, like it's even better than what I was expecting. And then to start playing with those EQ profiles and being like, oh no, now it's sounding like now you're working to help make the music that I'm making at the beginning of the process sound better, is like now is like starting to really, really elevate things. So the electronic EQ profile. And another thing, I don't even think are able to like manipulate or change or really do any of those EQ settings on this device. So like all of that experimentation that I'm doing over here, I don't even think you can do over here unless you start downloading some different apps that are probably going to have a subscription tied to it, or they're going to start. There's a lot of things that just gets unlocked over here that I feel like we take for granted or forgotten, or you don't realize what you have until it's gone. So I'm playing with the EQ curves. I'm hearing a lot of stuff. I'm like, oh no, this puts it the way that I was expecting it. So I went in, started tweaking some things so that way I can have effectively that EQ curve that I like. I want that built into the system at the very beginning. And that goes back to what Mike and a lot of other engineers are talking about when it's like there's a sound profile. There's something that we like to hear that we want to make sure that we run our audio through or our sound through from the very beginning. So by the time it comes out, it's sounding exactly like how we want it to over here. And for me, a lot of that work was happening in my head where it was like, I'm assuming, like I'm guessing how it's going to turn out. And now it's like, no, now I know once I'm working over here, by the time it gets over here, it's going to be exactly the way that I want it. And that is like the biggest eye-opening experience. I don't know what you want to call it. It was dope. Super exciting. So recap. Your boy has an iPod. And it's dope. It's actually right next to the high chord. You knew this guy was gonna make an appearance. These two devices are like these are part of my everyday carry at this point. I get to keep all the stuff I'm working on this side. I get another device over here when I'm walking around, just kind of playing and trying to come up with some ideas. We're gonna talk more about this guy in a second, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I hope y'all came to chill and vibe because I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm I've been pretty hyped to talk about some of this random stuff that's been going on over here because I think it's cool and worth talking about. And I'm assuming if you're over here chilling with me now, or if you're on the YouTube watching the clips or the VODs, and if you're not, go ahead and hit the YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe. You feel me? I feel like you're also kind of interested in the same sort of stuff. So going back to sound and these little earbuds here, right? So start with the iPod, EQ settings, and just sound in general. So now I'm thinking to myself, okay, now I'm really thinking about different playback devices. How am I hearing sound? And starting to go through and look at like, okay, well, like, what are some better earbuds that I should be listening, like that I should be using to listen to some stuff? You know what I'm saying? Like, what will be a better upgrade than this? Like, we're so used to this, like to this format, this sound, that I'm starting to think like, okay, what's the next upgrade? What's going to give me the best sound reproduction, better sound quality? You know, what are some other things that I could be listening to? So now I'm looking at like different speakers that I want to get in the house, or different audio converters that I might want to use when I'm just like casually listening to music, just so I can get like better sound. Like now I'm really starting to think about like in terms of high fidelity audio representation. And again, we wouldn't have got there without the iPod. It's crazy what kind of a gateway drug this is. Like it's awesome. It's crazy. It was such a good decision. I can't hype this up enough. Now, jumping over to this guy. I want to say back in June. That feels right. Maybe late May, but I'm gonna lean towards June. There was a software or firmware update for the high chord. Is now on version 2. It introduced a lot of very dope things for me. Number one, we got a minor scale mode, which has been essential because I write everything in minor. On top of being a cool, nerdy individual, right? Like I'm into a lot of things. I just happen to be like a very sad individual too, which is depressing depending on who you ask. Um, but I write everything in minor chords. Everything is in a minor scale. I think minor just sounds better. Like I my friends joke that I don't like happiness, which is not true. I very much do like happiness. I like being a positive individual, but there's also, I feel like the line between happy and corny and uncomfortable for me is they're like right next door neighbors. Um, and I'm just when you're just like I don't know what it is. I just remember when that cha cha song came out. As soon as I hear that, I'm like, all right, turn that off. My friends are just like, yo, my boy, like you just don't want to be happy. And I'm like, I don't whatever that man's selling, I just don't want no part of it. Sorry, not sorry. I said what I said. So everything gets written in minor. I like the minor. I like minor scale. This got a minor scale update. So instead of having to use the joystick to try and play in minor, it just defaults so I can stay in minor, pick my notes or my key, and go from there, which is great. It also has an update for the MIDI engine because when I would try and use this as a MIDI controller, it was too unstable and would end up crashing my computer or it just wasn't working the way that I knew it could. And this update has changed that. What you guys were hearing, um, excuse me, what you guys were hearing during my audio test, um, were recorded inputs from this device manipulating a program in my computer that I'll talk about in a second. Spoiler alert, it's the Sky Keys VST. I've been seeing ads for it, and I was like, you know what? It sounds kind of cool. Um, I want a better sampler. Let's go ahead and try it out. So far, not gonna lie, been impressed. So I was using this earlier. The one downside that I didn't think about, that always messes me up when I'm recording, whether it's and honestly, this is something that I've noticed since I started using more physical hardware, right? I first noticed it when I was using the microbrute. And that was the fact that I can record something, or I guess technically speaking, I first noticed it while I was using the high chord. But for the microbrute, for example, I might record an idea and it just shows up as audio, like an audio track in Ableton. And it's like, all right, now what key is that? What what was the patch that I made? Because as soon as you start manipulating the patch and try to make a new idea, record something, it's not gonna sound like the first patch, or the first recording because the patch changed. So it's like, a bit of an issue there. Same thing with the high chord. So I can go in if I want to record, like what I was doing before was I was recording my high chord directly into my interface. For those of you who don't know, I'm running a Universal Audio Apollo Twin X dual core interface. I want to upgrade this guy to an Apollo rack mounted unit. I was recording the high chord into this, but because it's still getting recording the audio, I have to remember to make note of what key, now what scale, right? What instrument I'm using, because the high chord has its own instruments. The high chord has its own effects, right? So all of those different settings I gotta write them down somewhere. Otherwise, you're just making noise and you don't know like what the reference point was. Same with the Sky Keys, in that it has its own built-in sounds that I started making ideas, just kind of testing this. I wrote some notes out and now I don't know what the instrument was. Now, what I'm gonna end up doing, and I guess we'll do this right quick, is I'm gonna go in. It's not something I normally do, but I want to start saving my MIDIs so that I can go in and use them later, which is something that I've noticed. I got a few sample packs from some of the homies. Lunch in particular, I know has some stuff like that where it has like MIDIs inside some of the packs. So I'm gonna start building out my own MIDIs. But I can start doing that because this guy um is really starting to work the way I wanted it to. And this was the vision. This is the reason I was so excited to get the high chords in the first place, is because once I saw it, um, and I saw some of the comments, basically saying like, yeah, no, like you can do full MIDI, like blah, 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 blah. I was like, oh, this is going to be great in my workflow. And now it's finally, finally able to really take advantage of it the way I want to. So that's super dope. And then I just dropped it. But that kind of wraps everything that I really had going for the time being. Um, Trying to see is there anything else to really go over? Not really. I'm gonna, you know what? Let's go ahead because I gotta figure out how to save a MIDI. Let me save this project that I have here. So I'm gonna call this save to MIDI. Boom. And let's see if we can't come up with any cool ideas. But I don't know. I like talking to you guys. Um, I like having these random rants, conversations, updates, notes, if you will. Um, all types of random stuff. And also, I think that I want to play around with the Sky Keys option some more because I thought that was kind of cool. I will say one thing I do need to grab, right, which is annoying, is I need to get a dock for my desk because I I love my Mac. Or maybe no, can't do that. Or okay, so like I'm workshopping an idea right now because I love my Mac, right? I have a M1 MacBook Pro, so M1 Max computer. It's awesome. The I/O on it is not awesome. Not a fan, right? But I need more ports. Like I'm using literally look at my computer right now. I have every port outside of the headphone jack because I'm using my interface and my SD card reader because I don't have an SD card in my computer right at this moment. Everything else is being utilized. Like I don't have any more IO. And I really want to be able to use this guy. So I'm thinking I'm gonna need to grab a dock, which is something that I've had on my list for a little minute now. Or, and this is why I was like, I'm kind of thinking about this out loud, is if I were to, because I was thinking about getting a new computer, right? And I'm so used to working off of the MacBook that I was just going to get another MacBook Pro. However, that Mac Studio, that's been calling my name for a minute. I'm not gonna lie to you. That Mac Studio has been calling my name. So I'm thinking, what if I were to get a Mac Studio as my production computer, right? And then a MacBook Air as like my daily, I just need a laptop computer type of guy. The problem with that is I still go to studio sessions. So like I need to take my computer somewhere else. So a Mac Studio, while it's great, doesn't really solve my problems. And I don't think it makes sense to get a Mac Studio and have a MacBook Pro. Because if I got a MacBook, if I get another Mac, I'm going to be trading this computer in to get the next one. So it's kind of it's a weird trade-off. That's why I'm thinking a dock is going to be the best solution for me in the long term, especially since I do have I go to the studio. I'm at the studio, I have my computer with me because while the artist is recording, I can be making beats. I can be looking at the what song we're gonna be recording next. I can be writing. There's a lot of aspects that kind of still make sense for me to have my MacBook. But I'm not gonna lie to you, that Mac Studio been talking to me for a minute. That Mac Studio been talking to me for a hot minute. So if I could, I would. I just don't know how much sense that makes to be honest with you. All right, let's go ahead and hop into Ableton. Let's get into Ableton. Let's see. Also I did a random idea where I was just like tried using this microphone and I was just like I think I saw like a Benny X stream and he said he was like running auto tune through his Ableton session and I was like, that's not a bad idea. And then since I had it on, I kept just literally being annoying and talking to the whole thing and I was just like, yeah, can't don't know how long that's gonna last. Trying to see if I want to use this guy or not. Want to make sure that we're getting audio. See, now I'm kind of concerned. Why are we not? Oh, wait, I know why. Let me see something. Let's see. Let's make sure everything is working the way it's supposed to be. And it's not. Why is it not? Why are we not getting sound now? Hold on a minute. Let's see. Let's see if I pull up. Actually, you know what? Let me do this. Let's pull up. Let's see if I can't pull up the idea I was working on last night and see what's going on with that. All right, let's see. See if this guy is working. Perfect. All right, so this is working. It's just for whatever reason we're not seeing my. All right, so I guess we're not going to use the micro brute. All right, that's cool. Let's work on this guy because I know I used that synth in here. Let's see if I can come up with anything cool or finish this. So take a listen to this. I think it sounds kind of cool. Personally, like I think it sounds good. Yeah, no, hold on. I gotta play that back. That sounds kind of. I forgot it sounded like this actually. I'm gonna have to turn the tag down a bit. Let me do that. I'm gonna turn the tag down a little bit, but I did that on purpose for a reason later that you'll see. I gotta also change. I gotta make the drums hit way better. I know what I'm looking for. I know what I'm looking for.
So true. So true.
Some ambient sounds. Alright, cool. Then I need to have.
So true.
I don't know how much I like that part though. Yeah, I don't know how much I love that, but this right here. I do like that. I love that. kind of like that. Where it's like, I like that. Na, na, na. Kind of debating. sounds good. I think it's getting closer. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I gotta rock Purple Midi. At this point, I'm too locked in. I'm too far gone. I still gotta, it's kind of weird because I'm trying to fill out, I think I gotta fill this space out, but I'm not sure because I kind of like how not wild it is. Before the like real rest of the hype comes in. Then I'll turn this guy down a little bit so the wheels aren't too bad, and then add a channel strip on it. Yep, I know. It's because of this guy down here. I gotta turn you down, and I gotta turn your brother down, so that we're not just decimating eardrums like mine. Okay, let's see here. How's that? Ooh, that actually sounds. Alright, hold on a minute. That sounds better. Tank the highs. We still want some of that energy. That's a happy medium right there. Then we'll turn you down a bit. How's that? Ooh, you know what else would be kind of cool? can't tell if I like that or not, but I do know I want some sort of. I need a chorus on it for sure. Just to kind of round that sound back out a bit. So it's not so. Moles are jumping. Alright, hold on a minute. Where we at? -2? Let's come over here and up here. That puts us back at 3. That's where I want to be for the most part, and then I'll start shipping the rest of it, and then I'll start boosting it back up after kind of get what we need out of it.
Subtract.
right, now I'm back over here and. need that. Get rid of it. Take up space in my sonic field. All right, see how that sounds good.
Spectre.
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
Spectre.
What was that? Yep, that's perfect. That's good. And then what I want to do over here is going to be crazy, so I want to do I want to do almost like a... Yeah, that's nice right there. Oh, that should be right on when they Kick comes back in, right? I want to hear how that sounds. And then this one's gonna be normal, so we're just gonna keep the full drums. Where do you start at? Right here, 81. Cool. So it's just gonna start right. Boom. Just get drums. So yeah, because the only time it stopped over here was for the break. I want to hear this. I got to hear this again.
Stop drum. Stop drum. Stop drum.
Solid. Now I just gotta figure out. There was one piece I want to add over here. That I've been thinking about. Now I gotta figure out what the notes are gonna be, like how it's what the sound is. Because I don't want to be like. We're gonna go da da. Duplicate this over, delete you, delete you. So it's just. And then I want to do. That's kind of the basic shape of it, but it's not. Let me see if I can't, because there's no modulation I can do. Is there? Mm. Yeah, like if I go back to, like I need like a pitch bend almost. That sounds kind of cool, but it's not what I had. I might wait on this. It's not exactly what I want, but I know how to get what I want. I'm not upset though, like for the most part.
Sup, tour?
Yeah, I'm not mad at this. Yep. All right, I'm not mad at that. All right, let me. All right. Well, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna save that to my whips. I'm gonna throw it on the iPod. Oh man, I'm not gonna lie to you. That is not gonna get old anytime soon. Um, and then yeah, I'm gonna keep working on that and see what I can come up with. I'm gonna see if I can stream if I have another session this week. I really want to. I really want to get really back in the swing of things. So I really have been having a lot of fun with this. But yeah. In the meantime, I will catch y'all next one. Later.